All right. Um, Today I wanted to talk about loneliness, unhappiness, inner turmoil, pain, and how to be happy. And it's such a tricky thing because, well, what I've discovered for myself, and that's all I can talk about really, is what I've discovered, what I've experienced, and is that all the experiences like that I've had, and there have been a lot, which I'm grateful for, and I'm starting to write about those now, which is very cathartic, but it's also very raw to be able to write about your experience and kind of re-examine it, and it's not without some kind of emotion or bringing things up again. Um, I had a friend of mine. He says, "Don't write about that stuff. Don't write about your ex girlfriend and your bad experiences." And you know, I don't know. I disagree with that. I think that's avoiding, and I think that we kind of live in a society where we escape we escape a lot of things in different ways. And I mean, people, whatever they drink, they smoke pot, whatever they. One friend, guy that I know does, cocaine. I mean, I don't. I mean, hey, no judgment or whatever, but I mean, I've always. I mean, I think you have to look at it for what it is. Like, okay, if you're like smoking weed and and you're like, I think it is a form of escapism. And I'm thinking about my voice, my spiritual teacher guy before. He would always say, "Are you high?" I don't think he, I don't think he liked it. I wasn't, but he definitely, but um, some of the spiritual students of his uh, were high a good deal of the time. Like one guy in particular, fabulous musician, but and John was, my spiritual teacher, was on tour with Hendrix and opened for Jefferson Airplane. I mean, he was a big deal, but he quit all the drugs when he was 21 and really got into like meditation and things. And but I have noticed that that to try to find like the equilibrium of your brain, and to try to find there's no one size fits all in this. That's the thing. Um, but for me, meditation, it's kind of a cumulative. It's like, it's really, John used to say, you know, burn some incense and it'll bring back your past lives. And thought that was really interesting, that if you can meditate, that you're connecting to your past lives, so that there's this feeling that you're not, and I've felt that there's some kind of a feeling after you meditate where you don't feel alone somehow. It seems to fill the it seems to fill the void, you know. And let's face it, I admit that in the past 3 to 4 years, I mean, after I had my breakup with the woman that I was involved with for 2.5 years, I was very sad. I was quite lonely. And frankly, I was quite pissed off also that, even though I had left her, and when I wanted to, bring us back together, she just said no. And, that was like, okay, well, she didn't love me then. Case closed. That's it. Settled. I mean, she didn't really love me, you know. And that was hurtful. So, and I see her now in like social media, and she looks totally miserable. I mean, I don't really think she's a happy person, but whatever. What do I know? But people will do things for, other reasons to get what they want. Um, we're not living in a world where really people are really pursuing themselves. And we live in a world where people pursue careers, uh, materialistic things, and I've been quite the opposite. Really trying to pursue myself, but I realize that, okay, I've got my painting and I've got, music and all this other thing that I like to do, but it doesn't really fulfill me. In fact, nothing out there can fulfill me. Nothing. Not a woman, not a painting, not a piano, not a flute. There's really nothing that can fulfill me out there in this world. And of course, at some point, they're going to pull the curtain down and that's it. It's over. And it's very, important that that I do the real work, which is the meditation, frankly, / writing, because those two things, in my opinion, are the most self-reflective activities that you can do. And one, the meditation is, I've always said it's like going to the movies of your soul. You're not moving around, you're sitting there, you're looking straight into the candle, and you're facing yourself and your fears your doubts and your anxiety. And it's not easy. Especially like for prolonged time. I mean, but in there's a certain joy, which is that you get in touch with the part of yourself that uh, will never disappear, which is that part in between the breath. Um, and I remember I had an experience when I was like 10 years old in my tree fort, and I was able to see, I was able to leave the body and go way up somewhere into the black of the universe, and I saw that I was separate, looking down at myself. And that experience has stayed with me, although it's been hard to, from time to time I'll think of that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I can stay in that kind of detached place and remain happy, because you're kind of teetering on the borderline between, your soul being detached and also being in this world, in the drama of this world. So um, so I met some friends, new friends that used to hang out with the Maharishi, and she meditates an hour and a half every day. And I mean, these folks are from the '60s, I mean, and if she can do an hour and a half a day, I can. And I'm always thinking of the things to do that are, you know, seem more important. I got to check my email. I got to do a painting. I got to, practice on the piano, whatever. Um, but really, the most important thing is to actually sit in meditation. That's what I've discovered for myself. So for me, that ties everything together. And I know a lot of people that, a lot of my friends, artists and so on, they smoke weed, or they've been smoking weed for 40 years. And I don't particularly see them as enlightened or happy. Um, they seem kind of troubled, I think, when you really come down to it. And I think that maybe like in India, you'd see the sadhus, or those people that was smoking the chillums or whatever it is, trying to get spiritual enlightenment. I think that's why I don't know that necessarily helped them. Um, a lot of them fell asleep on the side of the road, as my teacher